Rooh-e-Yaram, a 5-minute crisp retelling. In the quiet corners of Lahore, where old houses guard old secrets, lived Rameen, a girl who had mastered the art of silence. She was soft-spoken, obedient, and emotionally distant. Not because she was cold, but because life had taught her that attachment invites pain. Her world revolved around her family, her responsibilities, and the walls she had carefully built around her heart. And then Yaram came back, tall, reserved, unshaken, the kind of men whose presence shifts the air in a room. Years ago, their families had once considered their marriage. Rameen had quietly allowed herself to hope. Yaram had never promised anything, yet his protective glances and rare smiles had spoken enough. But suddenly, without explanation, he had stepped away. No goodbye. No clarity, just distance, and distance shattered her more than rejection ever could. When fate rewrites the story, time passed. Rameen changed. She was no longer the girl who waited for answers. She had buried that chapter deep inside her chest. But destiny is stubborn. Once again, circumstances brought their names together. This time, marriage was no longer a possibility, it was a decision. Rameen agreed, not out of love, but out of exhaustion. She believed love was unreliable anyway. Yaram, however, remained unreadable. He did not try to impress her. He did not beg for forgiveness. He simply stayed. The marriage of silence. Their marriage began quietly. No dramatic romance. No fairy tale moments, just two people living under the same roof, separated by pride, hurt, and unspoken history. Rameen kept her guard high. She spoke politely but distantly. She refused to ask the question that had burned inside her for years. Why did you leave? Yaram noticed everything, her hesitation, her guarded tone, the way she avoided eye contact. But instead of confronting her, he chose patience. He gave her space. He defended her in front of others. He protected her dignity without announcing it. And slowly, Rameen began to notice something unsettling. He had never truly stopped caring. The truth behind the distance. One night, when silence grew heavier than usual, Rameen finally broke. Why did you walk away? She asked, her voice steady, but her soul trembling. And for the first time, Yaram answered. He hadn't left because he didn't care. He had left because his family was drowning in financial and personal crises. He believed tying her life to his chaos would destroy her peace. Loving her meant protecting her, even if it meant losing her. I chose your safety over my happiness, he admitted quietly, and in that moment, Rameen realized something profound. He had loved her, even in absence, love that doesn't shout. From that night, their relationship shifted, not into dramatic passion, but into something deeper, understanding. Yaram wasn't expressive. He didn't shower her with poetic words. But he showed up. Every single day, when she was unwell, he sat beside her without speaking. When she doubted herself, he stood behind her decisions. When the world questioned her, he became her shield. Rameen slowly allowed herself to feel again. She discovered that real love isn't loud. It isn't desperate. It doesn't demand attention. It protects. It respects. It remains. The meaning of Rooh-e-Yaram. Rooh means soul. And Yaram was no longer just her husband. He became her calm after storms, her silent strength, her safe place. She had once thought he broke her heart, but in truth, he was the one who healed it. Their story wasn't about dramatic villains or tragic betrayals. It was about misunderstanding, sacrifice, ego, and finally, emotional maturity. It was about realizing that sometimes love leaves, not to end the story, but to return stronger. The ending that feels like peace. Years later, when Rameen looked at Yaram, she no longer saw the men who once disappeared. She saw the men who stayed, and she finally understood. He was never just a chapter in her life. He was her Rooh-e-Yaram, the soul her heart had chosen long before her mind understood it.